I thought I was weak for not fighting for her, but now I realize she was never worth fighting for. I broke up with her 1 month ago. We were in a relationship for around 4 to 5 months, and while it wasn't a long-term relationship, it was intense, emotionally draining, and filled with moments that left me questioning whether we had a future together. She's a moody person, and her emotional volatility often left me walking on eggshells. The smallest things would upset her, and I constantly had to put in effort to keep her happy. I'm not blaming her entirely. Relationships require work. But the emotional labor I put into this relationship far outweighed what she gave in return. I suggested taking a break multiple times, and I even brought up the idea of breaking up. But every time I did, her reaction was so intense, outbursts, tears, and emotional manipulation, that I felt forced to stay. It wasn't healthy, and I knew it, but I didn't know how to extricate myself without causing more pain. A month ago, my parents asked about her. They weren't supportive of the relationship, and I couldn't muster the courage to stand up for her. To my parents, she was a huge no, and I didn't even try to convince them otherwise. I hated myself for it. I felt like a spineless coward. The guilt and confusion led to emotional breakdowns and panic attacks, something I had never experienced before. It was a dark time, and I felt like I was failing both her and myself. But as I've had time to reflect over the past few weeks, I've realized something. My inability to stand up for her wasn't just about my parents. It was about her. It was about the lack of trust, the emotional instability, and the constant lies that eroded my confidence in the relationship. I couldn't stand up for her because deep down, I didn't believe in us. Our relationship started with a lie. She told me her previous relationship with her ex was over, that he was abusive and toxic, and that she had him blocked everywhere for over a year. I believed her. But months into our relationship, I found out the truth. Even days before we started dating, she was still talking to him, sexting, video calling, and engaging in a toxic back and forth. She claimed he was blackmailing her, that he had photos of her, and that she was being forced into it. But the fact remained. She lied to me. She made me believe she had closure with her ex when she didn't. And it didn't stop there. I later found out that during her relationship with her ex, they took a break, and she slept with another guy. She broke things off with her ex out of guilt, but the fact that she kept all of this from me made me question her honesty. Over the course of our relationship, there were so many instances where she lied or omitted the truth. Each time I discovered something new, it broke my heart a little more. She and I work in the same field, so we saw each other almost every day, even though we worked in different offices. She has a guy friend in an adjacent office, and they've been friends for a long time, even before I met her. At first, I didn't think much of it. I trusted her, but over time, I noticed a pattern. Whenever I wasn't available, she'd call him as a replacement. It felt like I was being sidelined in my own relationship. One day, she asked me to accompany her to a work-related event. I agreed, but something came up, and I couldn't make it. I met her to discuss how we could work around it. I wasn't trying to cancel the plan with her, just trying to find a solution. But before I could even finish explaining, she pulled out her phone and texted her guy friend to join her instead. It hurt. It felt like she didn't value my effort or my time. Our nightly video calls were one of the few happy moments in our relationship. I'd read her stories or play my ukulele and sing for her, especially if she was in a bad mood. But some nights, after a physically demanding day, I'd accidentally fall asleep while waiting for her. The next morning, I'd wake up to the silent treatment. One time, I begged her for hours to talk to me. I apologized repeatedly, even texting her from work. But she said her day was ruined and didn't want to see me. Later that day, I went out for a walk to clear my head and saw her with her guy friend. They were laughing, having a great time. She had lied to me earlier, saying she was in her office. When she saw me, she apologized and promised never to lie again. But the damage was done. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being replaced. A few weeks later, I found out something that shattered whatever trust I had left. I came across a chat where she confessed to a friend that she had proposed to her guy friend before we started dating, and he had rejected her. She told her friend she felt so bad about the rejection. This was while she was in a relationship with me. It made me question everything. Why was she still so hung up on him? Why did she feel the need to hide this from me? To make matters worse, I also found out she was still talking to another ex. She claimed their conversations were clean, but at that point, I didn't know what to believe. The lies kept piling up, and I felt like I was drowning in doubt and insecurity. Over the past 2 months, I've felt emotionally drained, doubtful, and unsure of whether I could trust her. I tried to ignore the red flags, hoping things would get better, but they only got worse. Every time I tried to talk to her about my concerns, she'd get moody, angry, or burst into tears. It felt like I was walking on a tightrope, trying to balance her emotions while neglecting my own. I'm not a coward. I'm not spineless. I couldn't stand up for her because I didn't trust her. I couldn't stand up for her because I was afraid of what else I might discover. I closed my eyes to the problems, hoping the relationship would work out. But deep down, I knew it was the wrong choice. A month ago, I finally ended things. It wasn't easy. She was devastated, and I felt guilty. But I knew it was the right decision. I couldn't keep sacrificing my mental and emotional well-being for a relationship that was built on lies and mistrust. Since the breakup, I've had time to reflect. I've realized that I'm not the villain in this story. I'm not the spineless coward I thought I was. I was just someone who tried to make a relationship work with a person who wasn't ready to be honest or emotionally available. Was it the right decision? Yes, it was. I deserve a relationship where I feel valued, trusted, and respected. I deserve someone who doesn't make me question my worth or my sanity. Breaking up with her was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it was also one of the bravest. I'm learning to forgive myself for staying as long as I did, and to move forward with the knowledge that I made the right choice. If you've read this far, thank you for your time. Your advice and support mean the world to me. I'm still healing, but I know I'll come out stronger on the other side.